who I am? I'm a dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Why so serious? I could crush you like a worm.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Praise the Lord, America. That's what that intro says to me. I'm so the genius.
Happy Friday.
The genius behind that intro, man. Somebody's gonna tell him he's really good.
You're really good.
Thank you. Happy Friday, everyone.
We've got the Johns on YouTube. John Fetzer, John Ferris.
What up, guys? You know what day it is. Strength and honor. So grab your favorite beverage and let's get it on.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I'm not
Chime
seeing
in.
the Johns. I'm not seeing them. I'm not seeing
might
the
have,
chats.
Let's see. I put they
Oh, there I see him. What up?
Yeah.
He said, John, you're on the wrong platform. Get on over to YouTube. We're so close to monetization. I can taste it. Taste those pennies.
We'll take them pennies.
Yeah, it's good to see you, brother. So, I mean, we got some good stuff this week, right? Got some good news this week, you know, to celebrate on Strength and Honor Friday. So for those of you who are new to the program, I'm Jason Perry, former Navy SEAL, former Boston SWAT, executive protection guy, security, consultant extraordinaire, and most importantly, former atheist turned Patriot, Crusader, and champion for Christ. And this is my lovely wife, Lauren.
I am Lauren, the lovely wife, a lovely mother, former atheist, girl next door. Not his resume, not his past, and we're doing this together.
I'm going to get rid of my title there because it was over you.
Just you. Yeah, I'm certainly not Jason Perry. We
No.
had a few people join. Linda Beam.
Hey, Linda.
Thanks for joining.
Hey, Linda Beams. Good to see you again.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and
We got a
honor.
whole bunch of people.
Brandy
Get ready
Hip.
for
Whoa,
some
man.
cheers.
Get ready for some cheers. Here we go.
Brandy Hip.
Brandy Hip.
Country Hillbillies. All
Strength and honor.
Brandy.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
John for us.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Che is here.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Steve Rowley's here.
Jeez Louise. You guys all came
Strength
at
and honor.
once.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And Danae is here on time. I like to see it.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
The question is
Yeah.
Scott with you? Is that a 2-for-1 on Danae's account tonight?
Oh, I
Or
got to
what's the
see his
deal?
name or else he doesn't get it. It's got to be his name. So, yeah, we got Liz Cheney out. So there's a victory for us there, man. Whoop, whoop. Let's get every deep state around. I want them all gone.
Is it worth
Purge,
flexing
purge,
for?
purge, purge.
Jeez,
You know?
okay, we have a Kristen
Oh.
on Facebook. I don't recognize your name, so thank you.
Kristen,
for
welcome for
watching.
joining
Strength and
us.
honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
We have an Anna on Facebook.
Oh, Anna, welcome.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And Skull Adventures of Sojourn, our good
Scott's
friends.
sleeping already.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
John, we
All
ain't
right.
driving anywhere. I got to
Nope.
go 35 feet that way. That's where my bed is
Benny's
right
of
now.
a small house. Working from home in a small house.
I don't even know. I got to climb 2 steps.
That's it.
That's it.
Do you miss stairs?
I do not miss stairs
Yeah.
of our other
I think
house.
B is probably the only one who misses stairs.
Well,
B
they
and
were,
Odin.
yeah, they both love sliding down the stairs. So, Chris,
And
good
we
to
have
see you,
we
brother.
have a Kenneth
Let's give
Reed
it to
on
Chris.
Facebook.
Strength and honor. Strength and
Chris,
honor.
Chris
All right, so
Scott,
Chris,
and Kenneth Reed. Welcome all these
Strength
first
and honor.
timers.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
and Claudia's watching.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to
Strength
refill
and
again.
honor. Strength and honor.
Yep. Hey, you guys
Woo.
sip like I do, not like he does for all of these strength and honors.
Oh man, tonight, what are we drinking, Lauren?
Salsa, baby.
You guys don't know Lauren is prego, so she can't partake in the
Cannot.
spirits.
So that's why he's double dipping on my behalf.
So I am after the week I just had. I am drinking the greatest year of my lifetime for this country and for me. We're married in this year. Trump 2016. Drinking Chardonnay because we drank all of our reds because their reds are really good, but their whites are great too.
Mhm.
They were a client of ours. Great people over there. I actually miss having access to Trump Vineyard, even if it was like 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
It still was great to be there. So absolutely love that. But we've had some good news and we have some bad news, right? So the best news is Liz Cheney's gone. The other news that I absolutely
Do you like the replacement? I can't
No,
remember
no, I don't. She's less conservative than Cheney, but she's a Trumper.
Okay.
Which means she's a nationalist. So I got into not an argument. Actually, it wasn't an argument. It was a friendly discussion with Aaron from Ting.
what- Mhm.
And he was saying, yes, he is an Aaron. Yep. He was saying, and legitimate he, not LGBTQ XYZ. He's a dude named Aaron.
And not an AA Ron Aaron.
Yeah.
An Aaron.
Aaron. So, he was saying that, hey, that he agrees with Cheney that we need to, Trump did a lot wrong. And I'm like, tell me what Trump did wrong other than being a mean and abrasive.
I've seen
Like, show me one
a lot of
policy.
people like, I will take my 179 gas and a mean tweet right now.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just like, listen, it's not Trump. I don't care if Trump runs in 2024. If you ask me right now, if he ran, would I vote for him? Of course I'd vote for him. But I don't think he should. I think he's going to be up there in years. And, I just don't think he should. Do I think he should be the kingmaker? I do. But
I think his word will still carry a ton of weight.
But what's most important to me is MAGA and America first.
Mm-hmm.
That is the agenda I am voting for,
Mm-hmm.
right? America first at all costs. I'm tired of being, the piggy bank and the protector and the world's policeman. Pull everything back. We got a lot to unscrew after spending, $6 trillion in Biden's first 5 months?
Yeah.
I mean, money's not worth much anymore.
I mean, we're
Inflation is
seeing it,
going.
yeah.
Lumber's up over 400%.
Crazy.
Gas shortages on the East Coast. I mean, there's a lot of crap going on right now. And for every genius out there who pulled the lever that was blue, which, again, I don't think was as many as they're saying it was, I think they all need to have their head checked if they don't have buyer's remorse right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think about whether any of the stuff that's going on right now can reasonably or otherwise, either probably more just as an excuse, the same way that when Trump had good things going on, there's people being like, they credit it to Biden or not to Obama. Are they going to blame some of the bad stuff that's going on for Biden right now on stuff that Trump started? Or
no, none of this. Like there's no way you can blame the border crisis on Trump.
Right. Trump
had it at an all-time low. They have it at a 800% high.
What about the economy stuff?
The economy, no, that's the Democrat COVID, continuing the COVID shutdown, the lockdown. And
Trump signed off on some of those things, but is it just the fact that Biden did it excessively and kind of beyond
the fact that he tacked on another $6 trillion, right?
Yeah.
On a COVID bill that had nothing to do with COVID.
Right.
That's where the problems are. I agree with you, John. I would like to see a DeSantis Noem ticket right now. Even though I have softened a little bit on Kristi Noem meaning that I'm not as hardcore for her in the beginning because of, I think, of her lack of courage for the transgender issue there. I do respect her courage for going on Tucker Carlson and getting her face caved in. But again, I think that she should have been the face of that. I think that could have been a strong position for her to take. And if a bunch of college kids didn't get to compete, who freaking cares in the end? I mean, who cares? Like, it's a small price to pay to fix our culture.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, heck, even Caitlyn Jenner came out and agreed with the whole thing.
Yeah. So again, I just wish she had, held strong on that instead of caving to the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
But here's another thing. Another week went by and I still haven't watched sports in like 4 years now.
Yep.
It's been absolutely epic. So some good news for me, for you guys who don't know. I have done now 2 days or 2 weeks straight, 5 days a week, heavy intensive training again. It's been awesome. I want to
I think that deserves
strength and honor.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So doing the workouts that are on PCM Patriot page. We started at day 1 again, and just are going through me, Joel, and Chris. Chris, are you on here right now?
I haven't seen him.
I haven't seen you chime in yet, but Chris, are you here right now?
So you're diming him out?
I am diming him out. Part-time Chris. It means he misses 2 out of 5 days a week minimum.
That was this week. He did okay. Didn't he do 4 out of 5 last week?
No, he missed 2 then too.
Oh man.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, you know what? 3's better than none.
It is. But you're making
at the point that he's taking someone else's spot.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling Joel today, that we only have room for 4 people in the gym right now, and it's the 4 most dedicated
people. Yep.
You can come extra.
Invitations out there. There's 1 more spot open at the moment.
We have 1.5 more spots open for workouts at 7 a.m. over here in Rock House Road in Johnson City. For all my Johnson City peeps, I can't wait to start hanging out with you. We're gonna have a party here to invite everyone down. Right now, the house is blown up because the painters took 10 times as long as they were supposed to because
mold and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because of mold and everything else.
Yeah. Wait, so when did that happen? When did they
start on Monday?
So we told you on Monday that they had found mold in the master bedroom, and we did the air samples and all of that stuff. And we were getting the results back on Tuesday. The results came back and they showed that B's room, which was the other wallpapered room, should be fine. There was some mold kind of in the common space, but that was probably the airflow. They were like, you should be good to go. So we're like, great. Painters come back on Wednesday. They peel the paper in B's room, covered in mold. Like, what the heck? So that set them back again because they had to cut out all that do the whole process. This thing has cost us like almost $2,000 more than what the quote was originally for all of this extra work.
Yep. So
but the paint colors look good. We're happy with our selection.
They just need an entire second coat.
Tomorrow.
And they're going to try to get away with 1, and we're going to be like, you need 2. Shouldn't have been taken.
Chris is busy finding me a house.
Well, I hope he finds you one, John.
Has he been sending you good prospects, John? Hope so.
Yeah, hope so. So if you guys remember, I gave, back when we were still in Virginia, which was so long ago.
So long ago. Are we at a month yet?
We're getting close.
What day did we leave? I don't even know the date.
There's Chris. Good to see you.
We already gave you a strength and honor. He wants another one.
He wants another one for jumping on. I could use one. It's been a while.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
But I gave everyone a homework assignment a while ago, and it goes along with our ABM. Always be mentoring. And I want to check in with you guys and see how your mentoring's going. So I picked up two new people I'm mentoring. And I'm wondering how you guys are doing. So first I'm going to throw my wife under the bus and say, Miss Lauren.
Yes.
Dear
husband.
How is your mentoring going?
I've been mentoring our daughter.
You just had the Ding, 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 ding.
As we say, it's the most important job there is parenting
Yeah.
to your children.
All right. I will give you that because you have been shaping her, every waking moment of every day. So,
All right.
and doing
I
a great
pass.
job. You pass.
I test.
For now. You're
I
going to get
don't
off
get that
on
excuse.
that. You don't get that excuse.
It's not an excuse. It's legitimate.
Yeah. No, but
It's
it's
supposed to be that and.
Okay. Adults. Like, what adult are you affecting?
Yeah. Not many at the moment.
Yeah. So, but I know, Chris, you were supposed to be working on someone. And John, you've been around long enough to talk about who you've been mentoring. And again, and I know Danae's on here and I know she's got some challenges where she's at, but, I in my journeys, I come across people and they watch this show or I turn them on to this show and they do things and, and they get fired up and they like talking about doing stuff, but then they never do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and again, I'm guilty of not following through or getting busy in life, but I can tell you as someone who just took his identity back as someone who works out, it is so important as a Christian warrior to be in there, shaking off the rust, getting stronger every day and getting better every day. If you're not, you're getting weaker, right? Men, if you're not a Christian warrior right now, or you're just a Christian warrior in name, you need to get off your butt and start kicking ass, right? And that means learning how to fight, working out, being competent, knowing how to use your firearm, being situationally aware, dialing into a warrior community, hooking up with a warrior community, hanging out with fellow people. Stop hanging out with your pathetic loser friends. Start hanging out with badasses. If that's what you want to be, that's what you got to do. And I'm not talking about MMA badasses and people who are bad influences. I'm talking about the badasses who are in your church right now. Right? There is a group of warriors in your gym right now that just want to be around other people as iron sharpens iron, that are there that will be there to fight for your marriage when something bad happens, or to fight for your kid when something bad happens, or fight for you when something happens. And right now you don't know that because you're not investing in anyone.
Yeah.
And we all need to do that. We all need to do that. We all need to get out of our comfort zone. So Pastor Greg Locke did a speech today, I think in Oklahoma. He went to some big conference there, and boy, did he declared war today.
I need to go listen to the whole thing. I heard
he literally declared war in the church today, and said, if you are a member of a church that is not open, that is still not open, you are in a coward church and you need to leave.
Yep.
You have a coward pastor. You need to fire your pastor, or you need to find another church because there's no excuse for not being open.
Yeah. Do you get different stuff from listening to him as Ken, or do you find that they're very, very similar? They kind of ride the same line as far as their messaging, or do you get different flavors and different information?
I get different information. I mean, they're consistent with each other, but Greg Locke is willing. And he's got millions of followers where Ken has a smaller following. Greg gets he's in a full out war with Andy Stanley.
Right.
And he just keeps taking a sledgehammer.
Which Ken has certainly spoken about it. He just doesn't get the media awareness.
He's just not as his team isn't as media savvy as that.
So he's saying some of the stuff is just not getting broadcasted.
And I think Ken's a lot more humble. I'm not, I just find Ken to be more humble in his wanting the spotlight. I'm not that, I don't think, Greg Locke is an attention seeker, whatever. It's just Ken is a lot more
under the radar.
Yeah, under the radar is the best way to say that. So John Fesker says he's working with a few gang members as we speak. That's what we're talking about right there.
Strength and honor
to John.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So it's about the deliberate pursuit. I was today on the Hope Report talking about this. We had some great
Yeah, definitely
interviews
talk about
over
your
there and
interview today.
some testimonies with, we had some great testimonies this week on the Hope Report,
And quick plug, if you have not, please, on YouTube, go subscribe to the Hope Report channel, Facebook, Hope Report, follow, and then Instagram, it's Hope Report Show on Instagram, and we'd love some followers over there too.
Yeah. So we started talking about deliberately pursuing things. So deliberately pursuing God, deliberately pursuing your health, as we've talked, deliberately pursuing, your walk with God, and having doing that now.
Yeah.
I feel I'm a totally different person. I've come alive. I mean, it's so much better than doing the other thing.
I think anything with intention, you're going to see much, much greater success. And so that certainly will magnify if you're doing God with intention.
Yeah. But like for everybody who's on the sideline right now, particularly if you're a dude, you're on the sideline right now. What are you doing? Like, if not now, when? Like, when are you going to fight for your country? And the only way you're going to be able to do that without losing your life or going to jail or any of that stuff is engaging 1,000% in the culture war. Step out from the shadows and get dirty. What does that mean? Get dirty. Start confronting the lies around you. If you're not confronting the lies around you, you're a freaking coward. And just understand that you're a coward. Now, that doesn't need to be who you are, but if you're not doing it now, you are a coward. And you need to grab your pants, pull them up, tighten the belt, get in a fighting stance, and get ready to go and start challenging the people around you that you can influence. Right? That you can influence. You need to get into people's faces, not like Maxine Waters screaming at them and calling them names.
Yes.
And
Don't be Maxine
No,
Waters.
you need to get in their faces and you need to show them that you care about them, man, and that you're fighting for their very souls. Yeah. You're fighting for their souls. You're fighting for our country. You're fighting for our way of life right now. And there's so many people who just through everything. They just head down. It's like the guy who's in the gym who thinks he wants to work out, but just flops onto everything. He doesn't step with a purpose. He just kind of limps into everything. And that's like how people limp through life and goes through life. And it is, it's shameful. If you're not, understanding this, and none of us can do it all the time, guys. None of us can do it all the time. But do everything as if you're doing it for the Lord. Yeah. And if you do that, as we're called to in the Bible, to do everything for the Lord, then everything takes on greater meaning. So, John Fetzger saying here, and Chris Scott before that, every day I will not conform. Be on alert, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. The good book. Exactly. And right now, do people around you look at you as a pillar of light? Are you the person they're going to come to when things go bad? And I'm not talking about your lame liberal friends who don't want firearms and they say, well, I know where I'm going if things go bad. No, you're not. You're not welcome here. You caused this. You caused this. Turn your happy behind around and get out of here. I don't need your food. You know why I don't need your food? Because I have bullets and I can take whatever I want. That's why. I invest in precious metals, lead.
Yep.
And so again, I just challenge each and every one of you to get out there and start being dynamic. Wake up and figure out what the heck you're going to do. And again, it starts with a routine. Before your feet touch the ground, you're sitting on the edge of your bed. Your alarm goes off. You pop up. You're sitting on the edge of your bed. Say your prayer before your feet hit the floor, thanking the Lord, and ask Him for the strength and the guidance and the wisdom and the character to make it through this day, to honor Him.
Yeah. I think character is a great addition there.
Yeah. Because that is what you need to start your day with, because you're going to be challenged right from go. Why?
Also, why? Certainly thank Him initially for all of the blessings, and the least of which is waking up for another day, because we're not all guaranteed that.
So why are we challenged right from the go? Because the world is in bed with you next to your phone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
On your nightstand, all the devil's right here. All the porn you could want, all the troubles of the world, everything you want is right here. So before you even look at this damn thing, you better start praying to God to put your armor on and start your day. And that's what I'm saying that we need to do.
Guilty of doing the initial social media peruse, before a prayer.
It's hard, but you got to do it. And once you're doing it, you're like, not before I pray.
Yeah.
I got to put on the armor of God. I got to silence the voices of the enemy. I have to, start my day firmly in the faith. And what did this for me was episode 2 or 3 of The Chosen. I don't remember which one it was. It was 2.
1 or 2, yeah.
Where Jesus is sitting on the bed. And when Jesus, the Son of God, before he gets out of bed, he says a prayer.
Yes.
That was enough to me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if Jesus is doing that, if the dude is doing that, then my happy behind better be doing that, because I ain't no Jesus. I want to be like him, but man, we got to do that.
You're gonna be him.
Yeah. So another thing I want to do is I want to shout out to some really kind gestures of people. So without even asking, I don't know if you guys know, but Memorial Day weekend right now, our goal is to erect a giant handmade cross on our property facing east so that Jesus, our Lord and Savior, gets the best view on this property as we dedicate and sanctify this ground to him. So he's going to be able, that cross is going to watch the sunset sunrise every morning. And so we've got, some people coming from out of town. We've got some friends there. And I mean, wood is expensive right now, particularly for how big we're trying to build this. And people are cutting us checks right now. I never asked for it.
Yeah, it's
it came so unbidden. And I just want to say that we have the best audience in the world. We're small, but our audience is freaking amazing. And I just thank you so much.
Strength and honor to you all.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So John Farrar said, being of good faith and good character is an excellent way to start the day. You will attract good people. That's what you want to be.
Yep.
You want the bad to flee from you. Because you're called to flee from sin, right? But you want to be a beacon of light that people notice there's something different about you, and they're going to have questions because they're going to want what you got. Mm-hmm. If you're walking it forward and you have a happy marriage and you have a happy life and you are the guy that everyone relies on, right? People are going to want to emulate you, right? And they're going to have questions for you. And that's the appointment that God is setting for you.
Yes, don't miss it.
But if you're in work and you're a worrywart and you're complaining and you're a moaner and, and I'll just say complainer, all right? If you're a complainer, who follows complainers? Yep. No one.
Yep.
No one. There's nothing worse than a complainer.
And I think also, I mean, you've highlighted kind of the good way of going through life and the Jesus way of going through and the not Jesus way of going through. But it's also showing people, how do you handle when you screw up? Kind of what level of hypocrite are you? Do you recognize it? And, because everyone's going to screw up. Everyone's going to have their lapse in judgment and their sin. And does Jesus come through in that moment when you've realized that? And how do you handle cleaning it up?
Yeah. So I'm sorry, say that again. So how do you handle when?
Can people see Jesus in you and when you're cleaning up your sin as well? Not only that don't sin,
of course,
but can they see it in your apology or how you fix something?
Absolutely. So the hardest or the most your character is ever going to be tested is when you mess up. Mm-hmm. It's, you're having good character on an easy day is easy. Right. On a great day is easy. You just walking around smiling, being a good person. Right. It's when you have a terrible day and how you rebound from that is what stands. So falling has its purpose.
Yeah.
Just like falling out of my crisis of faith brought me you and brought you to Jesus. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It serves a purpose. Mm-hmm. So again, it's okay to stumble. It's okay to fall. What it's not good to be is a blob doing nothing.
Right.
Sitting around being like, yeah, I'm a Christian.
Right.
I'm a Christian. I'm not, I'm cool. I'm going to heaven. Really? Are you sure?
How did
faith without works is dead.
How did that guy frame it in the interview today? It was
it was funny.
Simple.
I
It was
can't
just
remember.
kind of like, if you call yourself a Christian, act like it. Something to
You
that
call
effect.
yourself if you're the son of God,
Mhm.
act like the son of God.
Mhm.
And not like the son of the world.
Right.
So again, it's just been, I know a lot of this stuff is review for you guys, but I need to, and again, don't mean to preach at you or shout at you. I say these things because I need to hear them too.
Mm.
No one speaks into my life like that. You must be bold in Christ, and you must not deny him in front of man.
Yeah.
Right? That is the key. If you're ashamed of Jesus, guess what? You're done. You're done.
Mm.
Right? There's clearly spoken in the Bible, written in the Bible. If you're ashamed of me, he's going to be ashamed of you.
Mm-hmm.
To paraphrase, also Jonah and the whale, man. So I remember asked Ken, and Ken gave me the typical Jonah and the whale story. But this pastor today, Chuck something.
I can't remember what his last name is.
Chuck Riker
Something
or Riker, something like Reek.
Go watch that interview on the Hope Report today. It was
And
really,
man,
really good. Really good.
He put Jonah and the whale 100% square in my head to where I'm like, that happened.
It made a lot more sense than some of the other versions.
Yeah, it was epic. Particularly when he's talking about Christ, talking about Jonah.
Yeah. So why don't you
it was absolutely amazing. So, we'll pull that up if you haven't seen it on the whole report. Absolutely amazing testimony of a pastor who was a crack addict, just like Mike Lindell, and went through all that stuff. So just really good stuff there. So who wants to be called in? To have Jesus ashamed of you, that would make you feel the darkness of holiness. Absolutely, Chris. Imagine, right? Peter denying Jesus 3 times to his face as he's being tortured.
Yeah.
Right? And then Jesus coming and redeeming him.
Yeah. So I just dropped the link into that interview earlier today.
So again, even then, even if you deny him, if you turn back to him, if you turn back to him and pursue him and repent, you will be fine. But here is what I need to convey to you guys. Sin has a cost, and we've talked about this. When you look at porn, each time you're lusting after someone, or each time you're sinning and shooting drugs, that is a hammer blow to the nails in Jesus's hands and feet. Mm-hmm. You caused that. Mm-hmm. We can pray it away now. We don't have to sacrifice, tens of thousands of animals every year, because of all the mess ups that we have to get clean. We just have to repent and ask for forgiveness from Jesus and change. Mm-hmm. That's the part that people don't miss. You got to change.
Yes.
Repentance without changing is a false repentance.
Yeah, it's nothing. Shay, not sure what your one day that story of 2 atheists become one.
Hashtag
share if you want.
Share if you want. Share.
Shay, can you explain that a little bit? It sounds cool.
It sounds very cool. I mean, is that hashtag? I think the S. Yeah, I think it was share. I think that's a typo with the S there.
Explain
yourself, girl. Need some splaining here. Serious splaining.
So, what are your thoughts currently on The Chosen?
I'm very disappointed in season 2.
Would love to hear what you guys think, because we know that most of you watch as well, and that's been kind of independently. That's both. We both. The episode finished, and we go, "It's done. That's it."
Yeah.
I don't know. Is anyone else feeling that? Because we see, I'm looking at a lot of comments, and everyone's like, "I loved it. It was amazing." And I mean, there's certainly great parts in all of them. They just don't feel as complete, or
they feel. You nailed it. They feel like incomplete.
Yeah.
Like they feel like they each need 15 minutes more to close it out.
Yeah.
And I've yet to have one. I mean, other than watching Jesus come back housed from healing all day, which was crushing,
Yes.
right?
So
Because you love him.
cried pretty much every episode of season 1. You have not had that moment.
No, I have not had that moment
Mhm.
here. That was the closest when I saw him come limping in, and I was happy for Mary to have that mother moment.
Yeah.
In there.
Okay, we won't say anything. We won't say anything. La 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 la. You. We won't say anything, Chris.
Chris,
Other
if
than,
you've read the Bible, you know what's in there.
well, so there's one moment in episode 4 that doesn't ruin anything, but it's when Jesus is walking into the city and he sees, the people on the cross, and that, those people were referring to that as being, the very, very powerful.
I didn't find that powerful at all. I don't think, like, I just saw him looking at them, and
you could tell it was supposed to be a moment, but I mean, I kind of agree.
I just think it was underacted. I mean, I love the actor of Jesus. I mean, guys, you guys know I've been praising The Chosen, to have
Shay, you want to call in?
Oh man, let's get her in here.
Do you have Shay? I'll message you.
She'll message you my number, and you will be in. Let me connect here. Anybody who wants to come in, you're more than welcome to come in tonight. This is a call-in show now.
So I'm sending it in Messenger. And do you have your gunfire turned off?
I have my gunfire turned off today. That happened on the Hope Report again.
You need to.
I'm sitting there. Yeah, I need to change it.
Especially when it happens during that show.
Yeah.
It used to happen.
So, boom, boom. And I'm like,
ah! The best, though, is when we would be in sales meetings for active shooter training and his gun would go off like gunfire. I mean, his phone would go off like gunfire. It's like next week. Next week, you're going to call in, Chris?
Anytime, brother. Every one of you can come in. You don't have to say anything great. Just say who you are. Just tell how the show is going. Tell us what's going on in your life. Tell us how Jesus has impacted you. Heck, whatever you want to say. Say something you're grateful. There's Strength and Honor Day, and I haven't finished my second glass yet.
I know,
so we need we either need more people to log on or you to call them out as they log in. Or
Victor!
Hey, Victor!
Strength and honor.
Oh, and he's going deep immediately.
Man, Victor, I like this so much. So let's see. The world according to Victor. Hi, peeps. In the wind of change and in the water of forgiveness and the sun of faith, we must learn the value of faith and God's will. Victor, beautiful, man. Is that an original piece or are you quoting something there?
I think that's original.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's good. I even got my sentimental.
You got it. Yeah, you've nailed the voice for reading.
Now, when I'm reading Deep Thoughts by Victor, that's the voice I'm going to use from now on. All right, here we go.
All right, buckle in for Shay.
All right, Shay, are you there? Can you hear me? Hold on, let me make sure I get you on
Technology.
here. Yep. Go ahead now, Shay.
Double,
hey,
you guys
gotcha.
give me.
Gotcha. All right, we're loud and clear. You are live on the air, Shay. It's so great to hear your voice again. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We miss you. We miss you. It's good to hear you.
So much going on. Here's my thing. You guys both came historically, right?
Yeah.
From that atheist environment, right?
Hardcore
And
atheist.
met somewhere in the middle. And I guess I'm trying to figure out how, if you're a believer and then you have someone that's not, how do you, where did you draw that energy? Where did you guys meet? Where was the sand drawn, right? Did you guys it was an epiphany? Poof, you guys just woke up one day and it was yeah, all right, I get it. Or
No.
Yeah.
So it actually came from a crisis of faith, right? So, and then Lauren can tell you this is a little bit of mini of Lauren's testimony for you guys who haven't heard it. So I'll start, and then you can fill in the parts that are you. So I was in a crisis of faith because I was watching my son struggle with autism, right? So this was a gut punch to me. I believe I'm really good at mentoring people. I'm really good at communicating, and now I have a
How
non-communicative
many
son.
years into being a Christian at that point?
Well,
couple.
so I became a Christian when I was 37, and then Connor was born in 2010. So
Do that
five
math, do that
5
math.
years right then, I guess. No, I mean something like that. No, um, I was a few years in at that point. We'll say I got to look at the math and the timeline, and so I was in a crisis of faith where I'm just like, I believed in a higher power, right? But I hadn't read through the Bible all the way yet. I hadn't gone all the way through it. I was right at that point, right after. I mean, I was with one of the brightest minds in Christianity, that was Gordon Hugenberger, but I hadn't been healed yet, Shay, of my trauma, right? My wound, right, that I had was abandonment, right? And abandonment through my son happened, right? Because my ex-wife, who does one thing at a time, really well, went all in on my son, and our marriage became priority like 3,462. Right. So here I was abandoned again, which was the whole reason why I didn't want to have kids. Right. So my womb was ripped wide open. I hadn't been healed yet. My son was something I couldn't process. It was like my ultimate kryptonite. Here I am. I'm a great communicator. I can mentor with anyone's kids. I can do whatever. And my son doesn't talk. And my son can't tell me that he understands, and I can't reason with him. And I was crushed. Right. I was crushed. So Lauren and I started dating, and we both knew right away that it was really serious. Like, we met the first day and we knew, like, I wasn't sure if we were going to date or whatever, but I'm like, we're going to be best friends. It was like the best friend that I hadn't ever met. Right. I'm like, long lost friends reunited. And I said to Lauren, Lauren, I go, right now, I got to figure out what I'm doing right now. I'm walking in this crossroads of believer but struggling, and I'm failing at both. So I need to figure out, do you want to come on this journey? I go, I don't know if I'm going to go back to being an agnostic or I'm going to be a hardcore Christian after this. I have no idea where this is going, but do you want to do it with me? Because I knew she was an atheist, but she was also open and reasonable. I mean, we sat up to when we were dating in the beginning, and we would talk about macro evolution and all those different things. And because Lauren had a science background.
I would try to use all of my college educated science garbage.
Yeah.
He was immediately able to poke us. It's like, oh, wait.
So Lauren.
It all made sense in school when no one rebutted it.
Yeah. So Lauren, when I said that, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was not really personally invested in trying to become a Christian at that point, but I agreed to explore it with him. One, because I wanted to support him just because I cared about him at that point, but also because I was convinced that I was going to convince him to go back to the
dark side.
Dark side. My side. There is no Jesus. That's all stupid stuff. And so I agreed because I thought that I was going to be able to talk some sense into him again. So that's what initiated my willingness to do
it. The next step from that, Shay, was I went to Operation Restored Warrior and I got healed. Right. So I went there and my wound of abandonment got healed. So things that I've never wanted in my life, I wanted. I wanted kids. Right. I never wanted kids. I got my arm twisted to have one to try to fix the relationship, but of course it never works. I mean, it's stupid. But here I am, and I want kids, and I want them with Lauren because I trust Lauren. And, all my wounds were just completely gone, and I saw the world clearly for the first time. And so that made me come back to Lauren, and I called Lauren and I said, hey, I want to have kids. And we both talked about this in the beginning. We didn't. So take off. You're on the other end of that phone. What are you saying, Lauren?
He wasn't supposed to be calling me during this. But yeah, I mean, so at that point I still was not a Christian. And I knew that he was changing through this experience at ORW because I could hear his voice change. But I couldn't really quite process that. And I was like, okay, that's great.
Can you go over the voice change? What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, so again, he was sneaking phone calls. He was not supposed to be on any technology during this time out at ORW. And I, like the second or third day on the phone, there was just this, he used to have like an edge to his voice. and there was peace there instead. Kind of, I don't want to, a softness almost, and just this feeling of peace, the
Warmth.
sound of peace and warmth. Yeah, and it was tangible over the phone, so I knew that what he was experiencing was real, at least for him. But yeah, and then he was like, we figured out kind of all of these wound histories and all this stuff, and I want kids. And I totally panicked because at that point I still did not, and I was still not a Christian. Shay, is that you or is that?
Oh, that's me. I hit the button on my phone. Sorry.
No, and I'm trying to figure out. So Jason went into a program, I guess, if you will, for lack of a better term, to identify his Christianity.
No.
Identify.
So I went in there. Let me help you out with this. I went in there to learn how to help other people, is what I thought. Right. So I've had
a mentor.
Yeah, so I was working with veterans with PTSD. This is a program called Operation Restored Warrior that deals with veteran suicide, PTSD, all kinds of other issues. And I was
dare say it's the same program that we saw on a very publicized show that didn't end so well for another SEAL? Do I dare say that, or do I
don't think so. No, I don't know if that's the same one. I don't think so.
Okay.
So, anyways, it's extremely successful.
Okay.
And
I was talking about Chris Kyle, in case.
No. Well, Chris Kyle didn't kill himself. Chris Kyle was murdered. So.
Well, that's what. I was talking about. Is that a similar program? Like, are you working with
I'm not sure
people?
if Chris Kyle went through ORW or where he went through. He might have. I'll ask Paul Lavelle. But basically, the whole point of this is it's all based off of John Eldridge and Wild at Heart, which is an indictment against the church on how weak and beta male and how, churchianity had become, and how it was meant to be something else in God's creation. So anyways, I went to this, I got sucked into it because I was working with a bunch of kids who wanted to go in the military. And when I say kids, I mean teenagers to young adults.
You're hysterical.
What's that?
Not like sucked into it. Not like I
did not want to go. No, I didn't. I'm like, I don't need this.
He declined offers to go.
The only reason I went was because I was working with some hardcore veterans who had some pretty bad PTSD, and it was held in Lake Tahoe for the first time ever. And that is my favorite place on earth. So, anyways,
thanks for honor on that one.
No. And we were staying right on the lake in this multi-million-dollar property.
I'm going to this one.
Yeah. And it was awesome. So I went there for that and got healed without even knowing I needed it. I didn't even know I had this wound, right? This is me looking back, hindsight 2020, right? So you guys have heard me say this before. You're born as a vessel, right? You're empty when you're born, and you're meant to be filled with the Holy Spirit, right? But if you're not filled with the Holy Spirit at an early age and introduced Jesus and mentored and discipled at that point, right? The world fills you, and the world is always going to hurt you and tear you down and break you down, and it's going to go nowhere good, right? And then sometimes, specifically for men, but it happens to women too, you get wounded in your first love in your teens, and because we're all craving that dad rite of passage to say, hey, you've got what it takes. You're a man now. And this rite of passage, and society's ripped that away. It doesn't exist anymore. Completely, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is you put all your faith in a girl, the girl breaks your heart, and then the wounded becomes the wounder, and you become the womanizer, and you go around and you start doing whatever. And that's what happens. And that now you're going around, you're wounding as many people as possible because you got your heart guarded. That's how it worked with me, but that's how it works for a lot of people. Right. And, so anyways, I go away, I get healed, I come back, and now I'm all in, and now I'm on Operation Save Lauren because I realize how lost Lauren is. Lauren doesn't realize she's lost at this point. She doesn't realize she has wounds. She still hasn't identified the wounds that she's had.
No,
but
some, not all.
Yeah, some, just not all. And so I start a small group in my house. I'm like, I call our friends that we like hanging out with. We make it fun. We serve wine around the table. We call all of our friends in, and the whole mission of this, without us talking about it, is to save Lauren.
Yeah, they were all okay that I was not a Christian. And, I'm not really, I wasn't going to sit there and kind of challenge them the entire time. They just knew that I wasn't really going to contribute much, that I was more there to listen and absorb. And they were okay with that. They were all comfortable kind of opening up themselves in front of someone who was not yet of faith, because they trusted Jason and they knew me.
So from there, we started we found out that 3 of the marriages around the table that we had were in crisis. So instead of me I had this big plan of like doing like an archaeological, like truth. Here's how we know the Bible's true. And this is the timeline and everything else.
And prior to this, I read the same book that he had read, which was I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist, which we've talked about. And that helped my mind switch a little bit to kind of shifted
It's
from,
right there.
I can't reach it, from atheist heading towards agnostic, whether I admitted it or not, and just saying, okay, I can recognize that not everything I was spoon-fed in my secular education is guaranteed to be correct. And that book got me there. And then it was kind of learning about the life application stuff through the small group and stuff like that.
Yeah. And we set it up, then next thing you know, we're involved in marriages, right? And the marriages, it was such a beautiful thing because we had a bunch of people getting extremely vulnerable with their marriages. And, it was like the best counseling ever because you had a bunch of peers
Love and
around
War,
there.
which is a marriage series by John Eldridge and his wife. And there was parts of it that were a little cheesy or
Hokey,
a little,
yeah.
But the concepts, kind of each week and each chapter, they focus on a different component of marriage and what it takes to have a strong and healthy marriage, Christian marriage. And so I don't know, Shay, with your relationship dynamic, I'm not going to share everything that you shared with us kind of privately, but I don't know whether doing a marriage series or a relationship series is something that your partner would be open to, because that might shift kind of a step in the direction of faith, by starting to practice, a little bit more some of the tenets of what makes up a Christian relationship.
It comes out to this, Jay, does the person that the person that you're with, do they love you enough to put themselves second for a little bit to do something for your benefit? And that's what Lauren did, right? Lauren came into this. She's like, Jason needs to do this. Jason needs to do this. And she put her needs second and she humbled herself. Humbled was the key word there. And said, I'm going to do this for Jason because I want to support him, not for me. And lo and behold, she got saved out of it. Right. So, it's just, are you with somebody who is willing to put themselves second, to check their darn ego at the door and to do something to make you.
I know that religion made me so uncomfortable.
Right.
So it's not only humbling, but it's willing to get uncomfortable if it's not something that you are used to being around or talking about. I mean, clearly, Shay, your partner knows that you're a Christian, I would imagine, and sees you living it in some sense. So it's not going to be like this total out of left field thing as far as you wanting to engage in more.
It. Like the thing is, as long as I've been a Christian, like, and believed in every like all of the Christian beliefs that I was raised in since I was 10 or 11. Everything I have or in my arsenal, right? Like everything I can throw out there. There is like he's as versed in like why that's either not true or like doesn't stand alone, or there's some other message, right? Like not that there's Catholicism or Christianity or whatever, pick your faith, right?
Mm.
It's not that he's picking apart that I'm a Christian. It's just that, hey, have you ever thought about this? Or,
And that's
nah,
why I'm
you know
wondering
what?
if you do like a marriage series or relationship series kind of thing together, if he's willing to do that, that's less about, is the Bible true, but more about how is Christianity applied in a living, breathing relationship. And for me, when we went through that series, I'm glad that those people were having a crisis in our small group, that we ended up doing that marriage series, because for me, that showed me this is how Christians approach relationship. This is how Christians approach marriage and handle all of these issues that you're bound to come across. And I was like, I really like what it sounds like. I really like how it's being walked out in this. And so it wasn't even that I was saying, okay, yes, I like Christianity, but it was like, I like how this relationship functions through
It's a beautiful
Christianity.
concept.
And so it can separate out kind of the if he wants to pick apart the logistics and what the Bible says and is it true, is it not true, all that stuff, but can it be applied? Is he willing to see how it's applied in a dynamic and realistic sense in a relationship? It might be a different way to approach it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here is the book you need to read if you want to be able to go toe to toe with anyone. I got it up on the screen right now. I'm screen sharing. I put the link in the comments, and it's "I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist" by Norman Geisler and Frank Turek. There it is.
Read it again. Actually,
it is an amazing, logical, science-based book that will destroy 99.9999% of people's resistance to it, because they've been raised and brainwashed into thinking something that's not really true. So it shows the counterpoint to it, and it shows the math behind it. It shows all the logic, because I was a logic-based thinker. I was a scientist, and everyone who believed in Jesus believed in Santa and the Easter Bunny and everything else, and they were just crazy. And then I read that book, and I'm like, I'm the crazy one, because it takes way more faith to believe in random chaos. The equivalent of this is like a lightning strike in the desert creates an iPhone, right? Like a lightning strikes the sand and an iPhone appears. That is the equivalent. That's like one billionth of the complexity of what is made by accident.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, it's just foolish. And even if Christianity was totally wrong, intelligent design is a part of this. It has to be. I mean, there's enough DNA code between here to go here to the moon and back. I don't know how many times or whatever. Right. So, I mean, it's all there. You just have to, the problem that most atheists have, being one, is they're so damn arrogant and they have so much ego that they refuse to put maybe that they're not the smartest person in the world.
Yeah, I remember when I was working. So after I had moved to Virginia, and I was still, I don't think I had met Jason yet, and I was a woman I worked with who's a very, very strong Christian. And I remember that one of my coworkers, an atheist as well, was kind of gossiping about how this person didn't believe in evolution. And I thought that was, I could not wrap my mind around that there was an adult out there who didn't believe in evolution. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the equivalent of flat earthers, right? And then all of a sudden you find out that there's a whole bunch of scientists out there. A great movie to watch is the Genesis Project, or whatever it's called, the Genesis, whatever, where they go over and they prove, that Genesis is true, how God made the earth, how things happen, how the earth was formed, how people in the Bible used to live, hundreds of years. Why? Because there was a sphere of water around the earth that protected us from the UV rays that give us life now, but also kill us. Yeah. It's the sun that's killing us all. That's what's aging us. Yeah. Right. So they had there was a firmament. I can't say that word, but anyways, there was a water below and a water above, and it didn't rain. It used to just mist because of the water above. And at some point, the flood, right? The flood happened, and that water came down, and then everyone started living really short.
Because we were more
shorter lives. So, before that, I was like 800 years. Come on, there must be some explanation for this. Blah, blah. But the more we dug into it, the more science we saw, and then Mount St. Helens erupted, and we got to see things in some really, observe things while we were while we had enough scientific knowledge to prove that the Colorado River did not carve the Grand Canyon. Like, that did not happen. Massive amounts of water moving over, a prolonged amount of time caused that. And then we got to see it in Virginia with our 100-year flood. It literally happened in our backyard. It was amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, Shay, it's hard. I mean, speaking as someone who was on the receiving end of someone trying to bring me to faith, there was things that Jason tried that I was receptive to, and there was things that I completely shut down about. Whenever he started getting a little pushier with kind of the conversation or kind of why aren't you there yet? I would shut that down. Or he would sometimes ask me to pray, and that completely, I would kind of panic, shut down there. That made me very uncomfortable. We tried a few churches.
They were all fails.
Few of those that just,
all
again,
fails.
The way the services were run. So those approaches did not work for me where I was. So it was being able to be around it in that small group, no pressure environment, reading kind of, being able to do things on my own time. And then I found myself starting to think about it more, kind of things coming to mind. We went to a church and they did a prayer of acceptance at the end of each service that, for anyone who wanted to accept Jesus. And I would find that starting to kind of run through my mind, unbidden, and I would always shove it away. But, now I recognize I was being put there. But so I started just kind of over time, kind of by just living around it and becoming more comfortable with it. I think now, I became a believer before I admitted that I became a believer. But, I can't say, how your partner approaches it and what their mindset is. And I think it's just continue to live it out, walk it out, and experiment with which different ways you can approach. It sounds like doing the theological debates or conversations is not the best way to approach it for him, because you say that he's very versed in a way that you find it hard to communicate back with. So, I mean, just change tactics, and just keep showing him the love, I think, is the best thing that you can do.
It's the same advice that I gave you a while ago. It's like, you got to be as well versed as he is. And, I think starting with that book, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist, Jay, is a shorthand notes on how to debate logic with an atheist. And then there's a lot of apologetics out there, whether it's Ravi Zacharias or so many other out there who literally walk into Berkeley, Harvard, MIT, and mop the floor with.
Is he willing to watch or read material that you provide for him if you ask him to?
I guess the format would be like the questionnaire.
So, like, if you found a Ravi Zacharias video that you thought was very compelling, if you shared it to him, do you think he would watch it or just ignore it?
I mean, he's receptive. It's just there's the logic on the other side. Like, he can poke holes through.
Well, I used to think I could poke holes through, and then I realized I had a straw man's argument, and the things that I was poking through were that my ego was the problem, right? So I'd come in with my aura of superiority against these Christians, and I'd start trying to pull apart their things, and if they weren't great speakers or if they weren't great debaters, I could own them. I could literally wipe the floor with them. And, I probably did a lot of harm there. But I know now that I was standing on absolute garbage saying that. And I mean, if I didn't believe Jesus was true, I wouldn't be here in front of you telling it's true. And I was the biggest skeptic that ever was. So, I'm here repenting for and trying to reach other people like myself, because I I got into an argument, on Facebook, not Facebook, Instagram, with some atheist, anarchist who was coming after everything here and, trying to come after everything. And of course wanted me to write 10,000 word essays, which I'm not. And I turned around, and this is just a counterpoint. It's not to faith, but it was to, he was all about anarchism and he was all against capitalism. And I'm like, I can list.
Good night, Troy. Thanks for watching.
Good night, Troy. Love you. Hey, brother. Thanks, brother. I have to go. Can't wait to see the rest of this podcast.
No
problem.
Night.
Hey, have a great one, Troy. And I just said, you can list the atrocities that, capitalists have done, but that is not capitalism. But I can list a extremely long list of all the positive things that capitalism caused. Show me one. Name one positive thing anarchy has ever done.
Mm-hmm.
That was the end of the conversation. It didn't have any.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I'm a skilled debater.
You are, yes.
Right. And, that may or may not be your calling, Shay, or may not be one of your skills. And you don't have to be if you're with the right person, right? And they value your opinion and you educate yourself and you read, I Don't Have Enough Atheists, enough to be atheist. Say, hey, I read this book and it's really troubling me. It's an easy read. You can blow through it in a week or less, days if you wanted to, or just come up and like, hey, I really have this challenge with this. And what do you think about this? And see what he says. I mean, and if he loves you and he cares about you, he'll entertain that. And if he doesn't, then, you have something else to answer. So, that's what I would do because it's for your health. It's for your well-being. You're concerned about him and it's affecting you and you want to live a certain way and you want to do the right thing. And, and if they care about you, they'll go out of the way.
To influence as well. So that's
exactly.
Adds a layer to the dynamic.
Yep.
Also. But
wait, I didn't hear Lauren. I'm sorry. I didn't hear the first few words.
I just said you have your son to influence as well. So I know it's hard when there's kind of not this agreement on this kind of essential, conversation of, is there a God? Is there not a God? Are we Christians? Are we not Christians? How do we raise our son? So I can understand all the more why it's so important for you to try to fix things.
I hope that helped. I don't know if I threw a bunch of...
Yeah, no, it was all super helpful. We're also in a very Catholic-based community.
Mm-hmm.
So, right at this age, everybody in my son's class is doing their communion, which I did. I did my communion. His dad has done all the sacraments, so it's it's so tricky because I'm not going down that path. I don't. That's not what I want.
I don't want to beat up on Catholicism, but Catholicism has led more people astray and disenfranchised more people than anything.
For you is the easiest target to pick apart. Also, as an atheist, right, Jason?
Right. I mean, you are so vulnerable as a Catholic because of the ritual and everything, right? There's so much ritual and there's so much garbage tradition held onto there. And it's not about a relationship with your creator, right? It's about putting all these barriers, putting a priest, putting Mary, putting Joseph, putting all the angels, putting everyone in front of your relationship between you and Jesus. And it's just so darn harmful. And it breaks my heart to see. And every Christian I grew up with fell away.
Catholic.
I grew up with fell away.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is no longer what I would call a Christian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
All right, Shay, if you ever need to talk to us offline or again on a call, please do. Okay. We're here for you.
Oh my God, I totally hijacked your call.
No, it's all right. It was all good.
Oh, we love you, Shay.
For other people as well.
And
you're not the only one in this situation, so do not feel alone.
Yeah. And let me talk on that for a moment, if I may, to you guys out there. So, the other day we were on the Hope Report and we were talking and Lauren gave her testimony and her testimony is not as colorful as mine or Melissa's or, Travis's or anyone else out there. But guess what? She got a message or we got a message on our podcast that said, hey, Lauren, thank you so much for sharing your testimony. It was, and it's like, I often feel guilty or there was a sentiment, for being depressed while being a Christian. Like, how can I be depressed as a Christian? And hearing your testimony really helped me. That's a brief synopsis of it. And I deleted it from the Hope report from our thing. So I lost that and we couldn't respond to it. And I'm so sorry for it. But every time Lauren has shared her testimony, we were in a restaurant, Burton's in Charlottesville, Virginia, one of the most secular places. And a hostess stopped us when we were coming down. She's like, I heard your testimony. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because we both shared ours when we got baptized at the church we were going to. So yeah, it was interesting. We both got people coming up, which is very reaffirming, and it definitely reminds you that everyone out there has at least one other person out there like them that had a similar experience. More people, I have to remind myself, more people lived that girl next door secular experience than Jason's experience.
Stupid Jason.
So as vanilla as mine seems, and it's just kind of trying to peel back the onion of family dynamics is really kind of the where my testimony is, not so much kind of dramatic ups and downs in my own personal journey.
But it relates to everyone. It relates to more people.
And
like
Shay, if you're still on, you can go. But thank you so much for calling in. She may have already hung up.
I think she did. So here we have Chris Scott. Some believe that it's the Catholic Church that will become the one world. I believe that, particularly with this secular Pope who has done so much. So I could be wrong, but I think it very well could be. And I think you're right there. So when it says the one world religion, he's referring to Revelations there as towards the ends of time. That's what he's referring to there.
I have two strength and honors because it's been a bit.
Oh boy!
So strength and honor to Shay for sharing some of her struggles right now in a public forum.
Strength and honor.
And again, Shay, we love you. Thank you so much for supporting us.
And also, William chimed in on Facebook, and he did not get a strength and honor yet.
Oh, where is William? I don't see him.
Go down. You're way past. He chimed in late, and he said he'll go back and watch the rest of it.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Thank you, William. Again, we appreciate you, and we already talked about what you did earlier.
Yes.
Yes, he is putting just be a good person belief. Yeah, exactly. When the church, so a story here. Our painter who came and worked in our house is a great dude. I hit it off with him.
Contractor.
Our contractor.
So if anyone needs a contractor in the area, we can give you a name.
And he came in and, we hit it off. We started talking and he invited me to go to his church. And he invited me to Calvary Church here in Johnson City. Now, Calvary means a lot to me. I'm very protective of that. That's Ken Graves' church. That's Thousand Oaks where Chris goes.
Went. Yeah.
Huh?
Went.
Yeah. And, Calvary Church is there are places that are watered down, and then you have Ken Graves and John MacArthur and a lot of other hardcore dudes who've been doing great stuff for decades, and who are really leading the body of Christ in a completely different direction from secular beliefs. Global Vision, I think with Ken Locke, Greg Locke, I'm sorry. Greg Locke, he is a part of that. He doesn't call it Calvary. He calls it Global Vision or whatever he calls it. But he is on all those calls with them. He's in all their strategy meetings. He's a part of all that. And so I went and I did my due diligence because, I don't want to go in there and, I don't want to waste everyone's time. And I don't want to go in there and be put in an uncomfortable situation to tell a lot of people that they're jacked up. And I watched sermons. So typically before I go to a church, I pull up key dates in history and I watch in those key dates of history what they spoke about. So for example, if the Sunday after 9/11, they don't mention 9/11, right? That is not the church for me.
Yeah.
If it is Memorial Day and they don't talk about all the veterans who have laid down their life, that is not the church for me.
Yeah, I remember, not to pull you on a tangent, but I remember we were driving to a church that we were kind of lukewarm on, and we were listening. We were running a little late, and so we were listening to the beginning of it on the radio as we were driving in, and he did not mention Memorial Day. This was on Memorial Day. He did not mention it, and you literally turned around, and we did not go to church that day because you were so turned off.
Yeah, it was.
And we never went back.
And it's the phoniest church, and it's the
Mhm.
Point in Charlottesville. And Gabe Turner is the priest there, or the pastor there, and he is a phony. He lives in a country club, and there's a bunch of fraud in and around his house. It is disgusting, what's going on there, and they have like drained their congregation of money while their pastor lives in a country club. I can't speak more firmly of how phony it was. I just asked, I asked for an interview, an exit interview out of there just because I wanted him to do well. Like, he didn't talk about it. And I'm like, I'm not going to be a part of a church that is so out of touch that it's not going to acknowledge Memorial Day and, the 22 veterans a day that killed themselves, et cetera, et cetera. And he would not give me an audience because he's too busy.
And because Jason was no longer a
I was no longer a current member
of the flock.
What a freaking coward. Gabe Turner, you're a coward. You hide behind your security team. You're a coward who is the most despicable and phony and plastic of people. He looks at you, there's light, he turns away, and you see right through him. He's as phony as it gets. So I'm sorry for anyone who's from the Point who goes there, but you are being led by a false teacher. I'm telling you right now. I don't know where I was going with all that.
You were talking about checking, like when we were vetting pastors.
So I'm vetting this pastor, and I'm watching him do stuff. And I go to his webpage, and the first thing you should do before you go to any church is you should see what they proclaim to believe. Mm-hmm. Nothing. If he's not going to state what he believes online publicly to the world, you cannot trust that church.
Yeah, it's very, and that because that's such a common.
That's
thing.
day one, week one stuff.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Right, that's how people know if you align with their beliefs or not, and they're trying to hide behind it. What they're trying to hide behind is whether they're going to declare his marriage is between one man or a woman, and blah blah. That's why they're trying to hide behind. And then they got the kiss of death on top of that in the small group on Facebook. Or the group was not small group, the group on Facebook, moving to the Tri-Cities area, living and moving to it. It's a pretty big group. Somebody asked for progressive
church, but they wanted to be progressive, and this church was offered up as a suggestion. But yeah, so some of the more recent in history dates that you go and see how they handle is, what did they say after the election? What did they say after the 6th? Are they saying anything about COVID? So those are the things that you're looking for now. And does a pastor address it? And then how do they address it? And you were not said you watched one about understanding Jesus, and you were kind of turned off by. I
was completely turned off him. He's I'm all, Jesus is first, God is first, but he was literally the most ungrateful American citizen I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. So I'm all set. I want no part of him. I want no part of that church. I checked his reputation. I checked that church's reputation with people who I do respect, and they're like, you don't want to be a part of that in any way. Yeah. And
so it was a kind invitation, but we will not be attending church there on Sunday. So we're still on the search. If anyone else in the area has some suggestions.
I would be so far as to say that liberal pastors, and you have to define liberal when you're coming down on terms here. But if they are a pro-abortion, if they are a anti-free speech, anti-religion pastor, then I don't know how you can take them seriously in any matter when it comes to God.
I think we've had this conversation with Ken before too, is can a Democrat or can a liberal, again, kind of in which way are you using that? But generally what you think of as that platform, can they be Christians if they are not repenting for those beliefs and those actions that go along with that platform? And that's kind of a hard one. I mean, it's
a hard one. The gate is narrow.
Yeah.
The gate is narrow. There's a lot of people who think they're going to heaven that are not. And I think that the tribulations of today and what is going on now is separating the church into true believers and people who believe in the world, people who have compromised themselves out of Christianity.
I've wondered about, so in that line of, if you support the platform of abortion, et cetera, what's the line of kind of it being your sin or supporting other people's sin? So if you say, I wouldn't personally get an abortion, but I support a woman's right to choose, and through my vote, I support that. Is that are you then taking on that sin of killing babies, even though you personally haven't and wouldn't?
I think that you are complicit in murder if you are voting to facilitate that.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how God thinks.
Mm-hmm.
I can only go by his word. But if you are voting to allow people to kill babies that would be viable, healthy, all these other things, right? Then, it's between them and God. It's not for me. I can judge that that's wrong, but I am not their judge.
Sure.
Right. So when they get to heaven, they can tell that Jesus why, hey, I've had 6 abortions and it was all because they were inconvenient.
Well, yeah, again, it's I've heard multiple people's of I wouldn't personally, but I'll support someone else's right too.
Yep. So Harold McBoing Boing. Yep. 9/11 and veterans are things that need to be honored every time. No exceptions. It's sad when the pastor is a weak Christian. Well, and that's most pastors, right? Most pastors are weak sauce. I mean, how many pastors have you shaken their hand and looked in their eye and wanted to be them? One.
Ken Graves.
One.
Yeah.
Ken Graves. And, so anyways, the rest of them, they're just something else. Doesn't mean they're not brilliant. Like Gordon Hugenberger, brilliant dude, but he's voted for Democrats in the past. So I wonder how. I remember I got into it with him one time on an email, assuming that he was voting the right way. And he's like, yeah, I think the church shouldn't weigh in on these things. And that just proved to me that he was corrupted.
That's unfortunate.
And I consider him to be one of the smartest men in Christianity, one of the brightest minds in a lot of different things. But that doesn't mean that he's infallible.
He's intellectually very
smart
about the Bible, but
so
that's not
does his ego get involved with his intellectualism, which has happened because he's like, hey, here I am he was on a flight home with a church that is a mega church, in Texas or whatever, with 20 times his congregation size. And he's like, and they're talking about something, and he's, he ended up chastising himself afterwards because Gordon is humble. He does berate himself, but he caught himself, and he's like, well, here's this guy who has 10 times the congregation or 20 times the congregation that I have, and he's misquoting, like he's misreading this whole thing or misquoting the Bible and taking it and whatever. And he was just like filled with all this false pride that he had to repent on. But again, I think that he has fallen victim to the weaponization of compassion that the left has.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So the most evil thing the left does is they weaponize compassion, right? Because we all want to be compassionate. We all want to help people. But to what extent? Do we help them up to killing us all? Do we help them into losing our soul?
Well, that's in your favorite Ken Graves clip of the Judas as a Democrat. And he talks about the teacher who was in his service when he was saying that. And, the teacher said, well, I'm a Democrat and Jesus loves me. And Ken's response to him is, yes, he does love you, but he loves you too much for you to stay that way. And so I think that's kind of the whole compassion thing. It's the line of compassion. And it's, I love you too much for you to stay that way.
Right. And that's why we all need to get off our behinds, get off our sedentary couch, get out of our comfort zone and start confronting those around us who we love, who trust us, who we have credibility with, who we are in their lives, and to start challenging the lies that they believe. And if we're not willing to do that, then we're all cowards. We're all cowards and we don't deserve anything. And, and we just pray for the strength and the grace of God to be able to. The dogs are at the door over here.
Guys.
You forgot about us? It might be bedtime sooner or later. We had a rough day today watching
Really
the painters.
Really rough day for the dogs.
But that the great we all depend on the grace of God because none of us deserve anything.
Yeah.
Right? None of us deserve anything. But we pray and we do works of faith to show our faith, and because we're called to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So Brandy,
Entitlement generation. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it is 100% an entitlement generation, but that's all of our fault.
Mm-hmm.
All of us who are of, parenting age, we should all be mentoring the kids in our neighborhood. We should all be mentoring everyone around us. And if you're not, then you're on the sidelines and you suck.
And I can see how quickly and how easily that becomes a thing, because even in B's tender age of 2, newly 2.
Oh yeah, tell your story. From today,
story?
B, what you sound like would be.
Oh no, I wasn't going to say that, but
No,
I'll share that after. Let me finish.
That's a great reflection.
But I was just saying, as far as entitlement, it's like we change routines. Some, like either she was sick and she got ice cream for breakfast, or we're moving and we have so much going on, so she never before had watched, TV in the morning, and then she starts, so we put shows on in the morning because we have other stuff to do. How quickly the expectation, and therefore that's entitlement, gets in. It takes, 1 or 2 days of that being a new routine, and that entitlement's there, that's now what she thinks that she needs: ice cream for breakfast and TV, TV with the ice cream. And so you certainly have to stay on top of that as a parent and recognize when those things happen.
And they watch and they model
in the bud. But yeah, so
hold on, just let me frame this for it. So if you don't think your 2-year-old is watching and modeling, or if you don't think your kids are always watching, so I want to challenge you, and I've failed at this challenge, but I want to make this a daily challenge. If you have a young child, promise yourself, swear to the dear Lord Jesus above, that when they are searching for your eyes, they will be on them and not on your phone. Because every time I want my daughter searching for me, I want to be there, letting her know that I am watching her, I love her, and I care about her. And I care about her more than the stupid device of my phone or what's going on in there. So the moments I'm around her, and I'm blessed because I get to choose the moments I want around her. Lauren eats a brunt of this, and so I don't, whatever. But particularly if you're a dad and you're a working dad and you're away from home, when you're around your kids, commit to it and search for their eyes. Mm-hmm. Because when they accomplish something, if you missed it because you're staring at your phone, you suck. You suck.
Yeah.
I can't say it any simpler. You missed an opportunity there. And when I say suck, that's not your identity. You're sucking in that moment, okay? Yeah. My rule of thumb is either you crush it or you suck or you're just which is just as bad as sucking, because it just means you didn't put the effort in and you weren't excelling in something else that you shouldn't have been excelling in. So you just
Yeah.
Which, how many Christians of you out there, how many of you out there right now are not mentoring anyone? You work out in your gym and you're jacked and you're this and you're that, and you get on Facebook and you scream, but who are you really affecting? Mm-hmm. No one. Why? Do you suck at interacting with people so bad that you don't have any friends, that you can't get them around you to commit? Well, that's a you problem then, friend, right? Get someone in there and start working on them, because you're not working on them for you. You're working on them for the Lord.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. Good lesson. Am I still supposed to?
What's that?
B's story from today?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So this is a lesson about which most of you parents with older kids, you already know how quickly they'll show you what they see from you, and it's a nice mirror with a little bit of flair, I must add. So my thing is, I say enough. Like when B is doing something excessively, like today she was throwing a piece of like plastic, like hard something, like a tile that she found outside, and she was throwing it at Odin. She thought it was great, and she wouldn't stop. I said, "B, enough." And so, like that's what I say to her. And apparently, she's heard it.
How
before.
did you say it? Really? So go back in time.
I mean, it was truly not a dramatic enough. It was just enough.
When you call the dogs in the morning, you're like, Dylan, come. She's nailed that. So, I mean, was it like that?
No, it was. No, it really was not allowed. I mean,
She does that. all the time now. It's so
She's
funny.
So funny. Yeah, she calls the dog. But anyways, yeah, so she started coming in. She wanted to go hang out in her crib. And all I heard from her room was, enough. That's what she thinks. Enough. And she just said it over and over and over again. I finally just said, B, all done enough. All done enough. All done enough. But yeah, I was like, okay, so that's what you hear from me. And so the first thing that came to mind is there's way worse things for her to hear.
Yeah, I mean that's nothing. I mean that's not criminal compared to some
No,
kids
it's like
whose
I
first
never
word
told her to shut
who
up
when they
or
do
to,
that, shut up or the F bomb
yeah,
or whatever.
I know, but it's just
Your
so
word is
funny.
enough.
Stop. No. Yeah, I was like, okay, we're at that age that you can't get away with parenting anymore and not no one knowing about it.
Can you give the
You will
world
get timed out.
Can you give the world your strong voice right now and do it like a
No.
Dylan?
No, not on a mic. But yeah, when I have to call the dogs outside, B is mimicking that now too.
It's so funny.
Oh, Pop!
She'll shout it at the top of her voice like 10 times in the house. And it's every time I break up laughing, I can't help myself.
It's very cute. She's cute. They're in trouble.
So you guys all asleep? You're all quiet out there. I hope I didn't beat you down too much tonight. My intention tonight was to snap some people back to reality because they got busy. We all get busy. Mm-hmm. I mean, every day I have to catch myself from being busy. I work 3 jobs now, peeps. So it's easy to be busy.
Yes.
All right. So you got to get on. You got to prioritize, and you got to make the Lord your number one priority. And like I said, to recap today, check in with him and ask for everything you need before your feet touch the ground leaving your bed. 2, do some form of exercise every day. You have to invest in yourself to make sure that you're here tomorrow. So if you're not exercising, and it could just be a walk.
Mm-hmm. I certainly get those.
It could just be a walk. It could be anything, but, do something to make your body stronger every day. Yeah. 3, always be mentoring. Find who you have influence with. There are people around you who are starving for truth. Confront the lies in their life. Confront the lies in the media. Confront the lies all around you. Don't let them stand. If someone says something untrue around you, confront it. I beg you. And that's really it. It's pretty simple. It just takes courage. It takes a little bit of know-how and intestinal fortitude to see it through. Mm-hmm. So we have that had me laughing. Very infectious.
He has the most infectious laugh.
All good from Steve Rowley. All good, great message. Busyness can get to be a problem. If you let it be a problem, brother, it's 24 hours in a day. You got to figure out how you spend them. If you're not going to hit the gym and you're not going to work out, stop eating. You don't deserve it. It's one or the other. Yep. Right? If you're just walking around and you're not just working and you're not doing anything, you're not a hammer swinger, you're not somebody doing an electric thing where you're burning 10,000 calories a day, on a construction site. If you didn't work out, you didn't earn it, don't eat. Trust me, you won't starve. Just hydrate. All right. Never beat down by you two, ever. Thanks, William, thank you so much. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there, guys.
Prayer request.
I'm sorry, prayer request, go.
Do you have the link from Teams or do you need me to drop it in?
No, I can pull it up 1 second.
So we have, we saw today on Facebook, someone had set up a GoFundMe. And it's for a family that they are a solid, good Christian family back in Charlottesville. Someone that, made some effort to be friends with Jason, and just a good man and a good family. And they've had a series of bad luck, but just on yesterday, the 13th, I think, they had suffered a house fire. And they said that the whole or most of the family was there. They all got out safely, but Greg, the husband, went back in to try to do what he could to stop the fire, and he's credited that saved what's left of the house. But he also suffered. Thankfully, he wasn't really burned, but they said he suffered some very serious smoke inhalation, and he's in the hospital in critical care. So prayers.
Yeah, so that means that he is right now
Ventilator.
in a medically induced coma, on a ventilator with pain meds because his lungs are damaged from that because he was fighting the fire for his family. This is one of the best dudes going.
Yeah.
When my back went out, and he saw that I was at the ER.
He went out of his way just to get.
He went out of his way to give me a ride home.
Mm-hmm.
Just a really good dude.
So if you want to check out that link just to read about their family, even if just to pray for them, they need it.
At a minimum, we ask for your prayers. Anything that you can give is, I'd much rather you give it there to them.
Yeah.
They need it right now, and just truly good Christian people.
Yeah. So, and
thanks for reminding me of that.
So just prayers for them.
I mean, he's a school teacher and the right kind of school
family.
teacher.
Yeah.
So anyway, we really appreciate you guys. I don't know. Can we send funds to TS address?
I would send it. I mean, if you follow that link for the GoFundMe, it's set up to go directly to the account that's set up for them. So if you are feeling inclined to donate to them, see if you can follow that link and just donate there. It would be just putting in a credit card information. That would be the best way to get it to them.
Yeah.
And have credit go to you.
We don't want to muddy it up by getting in the middle of it. We just want it to go to them.
Thank you, Brandy, for even thinking too.
So I just want to say here in the last moments of this show, we are so thankful for you. I miss you. It's Friday night. We're tired, but there's always this thing in the back of my mind that my peeps are waiting for me.
Yeah.
And every time I come on, I come alive, and I just,
I mean, he passed up an MMA match tonight in Nashville.
Yeah.
He had a show.
So, I just really appreciate each and every one of you. Understand that your emails that you send to us, that or messages or text messages or whatever that say that tell us how we're having an effect in your life, those bring tears to our eyes, and that's why we do this. We don't make anything on this. This show has cost us tens of thousands of dollars and hasn't made us a cent. Okay, not 1 cent.
Well, that's not true, Brandy.
Well, yeah.
But we're not in the green as far as the balance.
Yeah, we're red as far as this goes. But people who donate, they help cover our costs to do this and all that stuff. Our Patreon peeps, you guys are superstars. The fact that you spend your lifeblood, aka your finances, with us to facilitate this program, we are so thankful for that. For those of you who buy our swag, our gear, we are so thankful for you, because each one of those things is another light or a green screen or something else that we don't have to pay out of pocket. And it really, really helps. And right now I have a job with Mike Lindell, and he's taking care of me, and that's great. We don't know how long that's going to last. We don't know where everything's going, but I trust, we want to plant a church here. We want to invest in this community. We want to do something very similar to what Ken Graves is doing up in Bangor, Maine. But instead of going after drug addicts, I want to work with military and law enforcement to invest back and mentor children who may be at-risk youths or people who are just trying to search out where they're going to go to be strong Christian warriors. And that's what my vision for Patriot Crusader mission, which I wish to share with you guys, is that we're going to have in our back 44 acres here. We downsized our house to 1/3 of a borderline condemnable house at this point, because we see the future of this, and you guys are the future of this. And I call each and every one of you down here to relocate by us if you can, and go all in on this. Chris Scott, I know you're looking for a purpose. I know you're looking for a church. I'm willing to lock shields with you, brother. You are a solid Christian. You and Danae, I would love to have you here. Again, if you can, I understand, but that invitation goes out to everyone.
Yes.
All right. You can ask John and other people here who have come down here. We dropped everything to spend time with them because they took the time to see us.
Mm-hmm.
And that means everything. Fellowship is everything in these times. So thank you so much. If you want to support us, cost of an autograph picture, $0. I'll give it to you if I ever have one.
Yeah.
But if you want to donate to, the cross or to the Future Church progress, that's all up on you. As far as if you want to support us, you can donate to the Patreon page. You can like, share, subscribe to this channel, which you obviously do if you're watching this. You can, guys, we are fighting secular America on this. We are fighting the big tech companies because we are a Christian conservative program. Instead of reaching 10,000 people with each podcast, we reach like 300.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they're never going to share us with people that they don't have to share us with. So we count on you to be our champions, to take this podcast and put it out there to other people, to put it on your Facebook page, to talk about it at work, to talk about it in the grocery store, to talk about it at the coffee shop. You are who we rely on to spread this. And again, I'm like, there was a big message, and it's just.
And thank you, Jen, for hitting that like button.
Hitting that like button, and is huge for us. And again, buy the swag.
It's
because
good swag
you get
anyways.
something. I mean, come on, man. This is
Looking sharp
this
over
is
there.
sharp over here. Good stuff. So, anyways, and we're partnering with a local company. Of stuff that's made in the USA to make stuff. So good stuff tonight. Thank you so much for your patience with me. I didn't mean to become preachy and I didn't mean to shout at you. I just know that I caught myself in a state of what was me, or a state of apathy, or a state of doing nothing. And I'm like, I bet you my audience is doing the same thing.
Yeah, some of them anyways.
So get off your butt, go after people. That's what it comes to. Start fighting for your country. If you're not going to fight for your country with words and within your relationships, what makes you think you're going to fight when it gets kinetic and it's bullets?
I think some people are actually more willing to do that than
that's a shame,
the words,
because that's permanent. So,
yep.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We love you, and God bless.
God bless. Have a wonderful weekend.
Oh, hold on. I got some graphics. I got to exit.